Taction USA is your go-to source for crime scene and evidence collection supplies. Taction USA offers quality products all designed and tested by active duty first responders and investigators. With no minimum order, you can order as much or as little as you need. Ordering is fast with no hassle attached. Check out TactionUSA.com today and find the quality and quantity you need when it comes to crime scene and evidence collection supplies. That's TactionUSA.com, or look for the link in our show notes and Facebook posts. Hello everyone, and welcome back once more to Crossing the Tape, the greatest true crime podcast of all time, bar none. Don't look it up. Today we bring you an exciting new chapter, but I'll let my co-host tell you a little bit more about that. I am Brendan, and I'm joined along with
Hillary.
Please sign the crime scene log and join us.
So this is going to be the first time we have done a multi-part series.
More than 1 and 2.
Yes, we've done 1 or 2. We've done lots of 1 episodes.
Yeah.
This one will be multiple.
Yes.
And we're going to be discussing The Lady of the Dunes. Mm-hmm. Recently, her story, I came across it recently in articles in the news, and it's quite fascinating how far DNA technology has come to solve some of these crimes that are so old, they've grown cold so long that families at that point don't have much hope.
Right, they've given up. Probably.
So I found this one pretty interesting and decided that we needed to do something different and bring you one story in multiple parts.
Yes, bits and pieces of different aspects that we'll cover per episode.
So welcome to our Lady of the Dunes series. The Lady of the Dunes, who would later be identified as Ruth Marie Terry, remained under the cold case files for several decades. That is, until DNA identified her and her killer was finally named. So that's kind of, a 2-for-1. Sometimes somebody is unknown, their remains are unidentified, and they might be identified, but then they still don't know who the killer is.
Right. Yeah, a lot of John and Jane Does have been identified in recent years, but their homicides still remain open. Right.
So I think that's another thing that intrigued me about this one is, it has more, it's still a tragedy, but there's more positives in this case at the end.
Yes, she was ID'd and the killer was as well.
Right. So, Ruth Marie Terry, who was she? When her body was initially found in Provincetown, Massachusetts, no one knew who the Lady of the Dunes was. However, we now know who she was and what happened to her. Ruth Marie Terry was born in September of 1936. She was born in Wydell, Tennessee, which is located in Marion County. Her parents were Johnny and Eva. Sadly, her mother died at the young age of 23.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I was surprised by that, kind of just right off the bat, a tragedy in the story.
Yeah, that's no time to die.
No. But by 1957, Ruth had married and divorced already and was now ready for a new venture in Michigan. Interested in investigation and security? Whether you are already a professional or you are in the beginning stages, take all of your classes at the National Investigative Training Academy. Choose from over 200 courses, all written and taught by experts in the field. The National Investigative Training Academy, or NITA, has offered high-level investigative and security training for over 12 years. Like live classes, NITA has those too. Sign up today for private investigation and security courses and use brand ambassador code B as in boy, A as in Adam, 2367. Take a look at investigativeacademy.com. You'll find the link in our show notes. Ruth's relationship with her parents was very close, even though she didn't know her mother for very long. Ruth went to work for Fisher Body, which was a car plant. 1 year later, she had her son Richard, but could not care for him properly due to financial struggles. Making sure her son still had a good roof over his head, She allowed her supervisor to adopt him.
Wow.
So again, another kind of
a
I
drag.
mean, right. I mean, that was on her part, that was very responsible.
Yes. Yeah, that was the best move for the child.
Right. But still, something no one wants to have to do.
No.
Once the adoption was finalized, she decided to move to California. It seems that Ruth's life would entail many tragedies. First, that of her mother's passing. Then, when she attempted to reach out to her son, he was unable to speak with her because he was in an overdosed coma.
So years later, she tried to...
Yeah, she tried to reach out, and he was in an overdose-induced coma.
Because of drug issues, apparently.
Right. So that's sad. It is unknown whether she was ever able to meet him. Everything I found, I couldn't find, I didn't want to guess, and I couldn't find exactly if she had or not. In early 1974, she would marry Guy Rockwell, Moldovan.
Moldovan, what an exotic name.
I know. Who was an antiques dealer from Nevada. It was later reported that her family thought once Ruth married Moldovan, she was not herself. Her family thought he was possessive. Their concerns aside, Moldovan opened the door for a new lifestyle for Ruth. He was a popular...
A bit of a gadabout, if you will.
Yes. Wherever he went, he had ties to exciting cultural scenes in places like New York's Greenwich Village, where he rubbed elbows with actors, artists, and musicians.
Fancy.
Right. He's the name for it. The socialite party lifestyle was a stark contrast to the humble and even unfortunate life Ruth was used to in the mining town where she grew up. From their home in California, Ruth and Guy would travel regularly looking for antiques, tying in visits with her family back in Tennessee on occasion. Everything was looking up for Ruth, and it looked like 1974 would be the year her life turned around in a way that no one could have expected was true. In an interview much later that was conducted after her remains had been identified and her family had been notified, the family describes her as a loving and caring person and described her as being adventurous. Her family had seen her 4 months before her death. It was just earth-shattering to know that somebody so beautiful and so loved and so bright was taken like that. That was a quote from a great-niece, Brittany
Novongloski. Boy, I think that's right.
But she had told that in an interview to NBC 10 Boston. It was a quote I thought was very fitting, and I wanted to put that in there just as respect.
So beautiful, so loved, and
right. Her niece, her great niece, may not have known her and just knew from what family told her.
Everybody said that she was just great.
And she also was quoted to say she was just brutalized and left that way with no dignity. Again, a quote from NBC 10 Boston investigators and her great niece. The way the family describes her is full of positivity and genuine care. And it seemed like even through struggles, like she tried to still see her family even though she was farther away. She tried to put a good roof over her son's head. And it's terrible what happened to her. Just a short time after her family saw her, so 4 months before her death, her body would be discovered. The most devastating part of that is that her family would not know what happened to her for decades. So, again, a reminder, her body was found, but her family did not know that was her.
Right.
She is just gone, which is something terrible, for a family to go through. So, again, I'll reiterate that DNA technology has changed the way we solve cases.
Yeah.
And this is one that really, really, just changed something for this family.
Yes, when the time and technology caught up, it flipped this one pretty quick.
So, before we go, we're going to give you before we give you a preview of our next episode, here's a word from our friends at the National Investigative Training Academy. Interested in investigation and security? Whether you are already a professional or you are in the beginning stages, take all of your classes at the National Investigative Training Academy. Choose from over 200 courses, all written and taught by experts in the field. The National Investigative Training Academy, or NIDA, has offered high-level investigative and security training for over 12 years. Like live classes, NIDA has those too. Sign up today for private investigation and security courses and use brand ambassador code B as in boy, A as in Adam, 2367. Take a look at investigativeacademy.com. You'll find the link in our show notes. Join us next time when we discuss when she was found and how the investigation began. Thank you for listening. Please sign the crime scene log on your way out. Stay safe.
And so long.